Superman Treasury 2025 Hero for All. This is an extra size, basically graphic novel that recently came out this week. It is extra size, very big, beautiful, beautiful book. There's several variant covers. I bought the one with the Bruno Redondo covers. So let's get into it, man. I want to review this. Welcome to my channel. Let me tell you, man, this book is beautiful. It is amazing. It is probably the book of the year for me, in my personal opinion. It is a story by Dan Jurgens. Bruno Redondo does the art and cover. Inked by K. Philip. Colorist Adriano Lucas. Adriano Lucas does an amazing job of making every image jump out in this story. This is a very cinematic story. It could be a movie. It could really be a movie. It's amazing. It's an amazing story and beautifully illustrated by Bruno Redondo. I know Bruno Redondo. I've seen his work in Nightwing, in Suicide Squad. Unfortunately, he has been paired by usually with the writer Tom Taylor. I despise Tom Taylor's writing, so I usually have to stay away from books illustrated by Bruno Redondo because he tends to be paired with Tom Taylor, a writer I fucking despise. But this book, man, is written by Dan Jurgens. Dan Jurgens shows that he is still at the top of his game here. In my opinion, in my humble opinion, he puts to shame all the current Superman writers. That includes Mark Waid, Josh Williamson. He just Dan Slott. This is the way you write Superman. This is a Superman love letter. This comic book, this graphic novel, extra size, I recommend it if you love Superman, if you're a Superman fan, like me since I was little, or if you want to be introduced to Superman to see what he's all about, go buy this book immediately. It is a beautiful collector's item. It's so cinematic. Look at this image. Look at this panel here. Look at this. It's just amazing stuff. It shows all the best attributes of Superman, what Superman should be about. Dan Jurgens uses a lot of characters here. Everybody is here. Lex Luthor is here. The Justice League is here. His parents, the Kents, Lois Lane, John Kent, his son, but his son when he was before he became this idiotic LGBTQ fucking symbol for DC Comics. Dan Jurgens doesn't go there. He keeps away from all that stuff, as well as he should. This is about Superman. This is not about politics. This is not a woke comic book in any sense of the word. This is just pure comic book magic, pure comic book storytelling, fantasy, action, sci-fi, and we have Superman trying to prevent an alien invasion. First, he has to deal with a giant robot. Turns out that this giant robot that is causing destruction in Metropolis was just a distraction. There's a bad guy behind the scenes, and that bad guy has formulated a good plan to put Superman out of the battlefield, so to speak, to put him aside, to bench him, to sidetrack him, so they could conquer Metropolis. So there's a lot of things going on. The Kents are run away. They are trying to keep John Kent, Superman's son, safe, and they're running away, but they're still being followed. It's very obvious that John Kent is a target. And we get these highlights. We have Steel, we have a lot of the Superman supporting characters like Steel, like you know, um, other other superheroes. There's a lot of superheroes. Even Lex Luthor comes into play here. Lex Luthor is is written wonderfully here. He's his usual self, but he's not the main villain in this. He's actually turns out to be, because of mutual interest, he turns out to work for with the good guys in this one. And we have a lot of amazing guest starring superheroes, like the Martian Manhunter, like Aquaman, like I mentioned, that the whole Justice League, Wonder Woman, it's and they all shine. They all get a moment to do something, but never. Dan Jurgens is so awesome that he never resorts to having any of the other superheroes usurp Superman's spot, or outshine him, or degrade him, or lecture him in any way, shape, or form. This is Superman's book. He is the main superhero. He gets to save the day. He's the main man of this story the way it should be. And it turns out, another wonderful, awesome surprise is that the main villains here are Maxima and Cyborg Superman. And it's awesome that Dan Jurgens decides to bring Maxima to her villain roots, because Maxima, it brings me back. There's a lot of nostalgia here. This is a love letter to writers like Roger Stern and Jerry Orway, and artists like George Perez, who I remember he illustrated Maxima's first appearance along with Dan Jurgens back in those days. And there's no more awesome a villain like Cyborg Superman. Nobody can write Cyborg Superman better than Dan Jurgens. Nobody. So, like I said, man, this is an action-packed book, and there's so many like physical encounters. We get to see Cyborg Superman versus Wonder Woman. We get to see Cyborg Superman versus Batman. We get to see Maxima versus Wonder Woman, a little bit of it. We get to see Lex Luthor versus Cyborg Superman here, and it brings out that arrow thing that I always thought about, that while Luthor has, whenever he wore his armor, I always wondered why he never got something to cover his head, to protect his head. And this is what happens. Cyborg Superman really fucks him up, as you can see. Look at that. Look at those panels. Just amazing. So if you want that question answered, Lex Luthor in armor versus Cyborg Superman, Superman makes very little work of him. Very, very, very quick. We also get to, Dan Jurgens is not lazy here. He has a big book to fill out, and we get to go over Maximan's origins. We get to go over Cyborg Superman's origins, and just wonderful, wonderful. I can't say enough about it. It turns out that Maxima manages to hold captive of Superman, and he puts him in a kind of like a hypnotic state where Superman is living another reality. And in this reality, they make the mistake of killing off John Kent early, and it turns, in that reality, his best friend is Lex Luthor, and Lex Luthor marries Lois Lane, and Clark Kent just grows up to become the chief editor of the Daily Planet, and it's so much stuff that it triggers Superman's true feelings, his real memories, and he manages to escape that trap, to escape that stasis. And when he resurrects It is, you know, that sequence is illustrated by Dan Jurgens himself, who is an amazing artist, and we get to see that in the middle of the book. Just awesome stuff. This book is just, man, and the dialogue is amazing, the pacing is amazing, the action, the drama. There's so much, you know, Superman lore here. There's so much to enjoy, you know, and we get to see Superman kick ass, and the way he, you know, he thwarts the alien invasion, you know, the way he, you know, this armada surrounding planet Earth, he decides to use his super speed and just disarm this armada. And it's just cinematic, and it's just beautiful, beautifully illustrated, just amazing stuff. And you know, Maxima looks amazing, and yeah, man, there's a lot of, there's so many tidbits, so many good things. Here we go, we get a moment of Cyborg Superman versus Batman. Batman has no chance. He basically almost gets killed here, and Superman saves Batman's ass, basically. And that's the way, you see, current modern writers, you know what they do? They will have Batman somehow beating Cyborg Superman. They will have somehow had Wonder Woman help, or Lois Lane help Superman and save his life, or some bullshit like that. No, this book is Superman. It is to shine a light on what makes Superman the best, the greatest superhero of them all, you know. And Bruno Redondo, man, congratulations to him. Amazing illustrations, amazing visuals here. Maxima never looked so menacing. I love that her the remake, her, you know, she has a different suit now. She looks different. She looks more menacing. She looks more royalty, but she still looks like she could kick ass, you know. And I hope the current writers keep this in continuity, and I hope that Maxima is kept as a villain. I think she is better. She works better as a villain, and as a villain obsessed with Superman, that she wants Superman to be her man. She wants to build a whole race with Superman and her ruling over it, and, you know, having offsprings and all that stuff that she wanted in her first when she first appeared back in the day. Anyways, guys, this book, from a scale 1 to 10, man, I don't do that lightly, but it is a 10. I believe this book is a perfect 10. It's just perfectly illustrated, perfectly written, and it does the job of, you know, shining a light on the greatest superhero of them all. I recommend it, and there's a lot of cool tidbits, a lot of cool you know, extra stuff, things about the movie, descriptions, the characters, and a lot of ads, also, you know, recommendations of other current, you know, Superman books. It's because they call it the Summer of Superman. It is a marketing strategy to promote Superman, to promote the current Superman movie going on right now. And they're not pulling any stuff, man. They are doing a wonderful job of promoting the movie, of promoting the character, and I couldn't be any happier, because Superman's just my favorite superhero. And this book is for you if you're a fan, or if you want to get to be a super fan. This is the book, and I love it. Thanks, guys, for listening. Peace.